A poor girl marries into a wealthy family but is constantly abused by her husband. One night, her husband beats her just because she snored in her sleep. Despite the violence, she dares not resist, as her entire family's livelihood depends on his wealth. At first, Lisa endures the abuse for the sake of her family. But one day, after being beaten so badly that she ends up in the hospital, her husband tries to apologize by giving her an expensive necklace, promising never to hurt her again. Lisa, however, knows better and just wants to escape her cruel husband. To her surprise, the doctor who walks into her hospital room is none other than her ex-boyfriend's father. After her husband leaves, Lisa pleads with the doctor to help her escape. Although she never became his daughter-in-law, the doctor agrees to help the poor girl. The hospital alarm suddenly goes off, and her husband's men rush to the door. Inside, they find Lisa clutching her throat in pain. The doctor quickly enters with a nurse, explaining that Lisa had a drug allergy but is now sleeping after taking some medication. They urge the men not to disturb her rest. However, what they don't know is that Lisa has already switched places with the nurse and quietly left the hospital. The doctor gives her some money for travel and advises her to leave the city. When her husband learns of her escape hours later, he flies into a rage. He immediately orders his men to interrogate the doctor, but the doctor's response leaves them speechless. This temporarily ends their suspicion, but her husband doesn't give up. He uses his connections with the police to falsely accuse Lisa of theft, putting her on the wanted list. Meanwhile, Lisa arrives at the bus station, only to have her wallet stolen by a pickpocket right before she boards. Ironically, this theft saves her life because she can't buy a ticket. As she stands there helplessly, an explosion occurs nearby, and children run towards the scene to see what happened. A little girl nearly gets hit by a reversing car, but Lisa rushes to save her just in time. The girl's father, grateful for Lisa's actions, offers her a place to stay. On their way back, they pass the site of the explosion and learn that an oil tanker had collided with a bus. The very bus Lisa was supposed to be on. Everyone on the bus, including the pickpocket, was killed. Later, the police find Lisa's necklace and a half-burnt passport at the accident scene, leading her husband to believe she died in the crash. This accident gives Lisa a brief moment of peace. Over the next year, she grows closer to the man who took her in, and it turns out his daughter needs a mother. One evening, the man confesses his feelings to Lisa. If they are to marry, Lisa needs to clear her records, so he asks his late wife's sister, who works in a government office, to help. It's a simple task for her, but restoring Lisa's passport and records alerts the police, who then inform her husband that she's alive. Her husband shows up at her new home, enraged to find her pregnant. He threatens her, saying, "You're mine in life and death. If you come back with me now, I'll forgive everything." Lisa knows returning with him would mean certain death, so she grabs a shotgun and orders him to leave, threatening to blow his head off. Her husband laughs, betting there are no bullets in the gun. Faced with Lisa's desperation, he reluctantly retreats, but vows to return. Knowing her husband won't let her go, Lisa asks her new partner to take her and the girl away when he returns home. He advises her to stay. Knowing her husband won't let her go, Lisa asks her new partner to take her and the girl away when he returns home. However, he suggests that Lisa and the girl hide at his sister's house, while he stays behind to confront her husband. Just as Lisa feared, the next day her husband sends 2 men to the house. However, her new partner is prepared and drives them away at gunpoint. But as they leave, another man appears from the shadows. In the ensuing struggle, both Lisa's new partner and the attacker are killed. Tragically, due to the stress and injuries from the altercation, Lisa loses the baby she was carrying. Lisa had hoped that her husband's death would be enough to convict her abusive ex, but she wasn't present during the fight and can't serve as a witness. To make matters worse, the man who fired the fatal shot is also dead, and all evidence disappears. Desperate to escape her ex-husband's grasp, Lisa's sister-in-law helps her get a new passport and urges her to leave town as quickly as possible. But just as Lisa is about to flee, her ex discovers the sister-in-law's involvement and forces her to reveal Lisa's location. The sister-in-law refuses, citing privacy laws, but a colleague betrays her for a small bribe, handing over Lisa's information. Her ex quickly tracks her down and tries to forcibly take her back to the life she narrowly escaped. Before he can make his move, however, the car is stopped by a group of SWAT officers. They arrest her ex-husband on charges of conspiring to murder a business partner. Lisa narrowly escapes danger, but her life is still far from easy. By day, she works at a restaurant where she frequently faces harassment from unruly customers. By night, she fends off the advances of her lecherous landlord. To protect herself, Lisa decides to take self-defense classes. Her instructor is drawn to her mature charm and not only teaches her self-defense techniques, but also becomes a trusted friend. Finally, after all her struggles, Lisa finds love and success. But one day, she finds an old dress in her closet, and memories of the past come flooding back. Lisa once had a boyfriend who loved her dearly, and they were planning to marry. But fate took a cruel turn when she went to deliver lunch to her father, who was working as a security guard. Her father's boss, smitten with Lisa at first sight, promoted her father to head of security and began relentlessly pursuing her, driving up to the grocery store where she worked in luxury cars. Unbeknownst to Lisa, this was all part of her ex-husband's plan to trap her in a life of misery. Her father began to resent her boyfriend, thinking the poor man wasn't good enough for his daughter, while her mother insisted that marriage should be between social equals. The tension at home escalated, leading to a drunken confrontation where her father pointed a gun at her mother. Lisa's boyfriend arrived just in time